Hey guys, it's Victoria back with another spoiler-free movie reaction. And today's movie reaction will be on Civil War. Directed by Alex Garland, starring Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kaylee Spaney, Stephen McKinley Henderson, and Nick Offerman. It came out this past weekend and I wanted to share my thoughts on the film with all of you. So before I start, I just wanted to let y'all know that I am planning to do a full-on review for this movie because I just had too many thoughts spinning around in my head over this film that I am like, I cannot fit all that into this reaction. So I plan on doing a full-on movie reaction for it. So look forward to that video coming out sometime later. But now, on to the reaction. Now, I've been hearing all the different dividing views and thoughts on this film from one review to another. So I am going to try to be as objective and fair as possible when giving my reaction on this film. There is not going to be any judgments floating around on this video. I am just giving my reaction, my thoughts on what I thought about the film at first viewing, okay? So just thought I'd let you know that head on before I get started, before anybody starts saying, well, you said this, well, you said it like that, so what was that supposed to mean? So, I'm letting y'all know I'm being as objective as I can on the matter and just going by what I saw and nothing more, nothing less. As far as the story goes, I enjoyed the way the director wanted to tell this story, or how he chose to tell it in this film. Instead of the film being about what the title basically is, Civil War, it's not about how a civil war gets started or what a civil war, a full-on civil war would look like in this day and age. Instead, it is about a group of war journalists and photographers that are basically, how could you put it? It's not just about them, but it's also about the people and how they choose to live and what they do in this crazy time of division and turmoil in the US. So I found that a interesting way to delve in at least a bit into the topic of Civil War. And in all honesty, I find that very interesting for a film that is titled Civil War. It is less focused on that and more focused on the war photographers and how they do what they do and why they do what they do to help present the truth and get the truth out there about what is going on in the war through their photos, their pictures. Also, the fact that the characters in the film, they may be our protagonists in the film, but they are not, dare I say, you don't really see them as the heroes of this film. They are more so they're just so happen to be the human beings in this film that we are following in this tumultuous situation that is going on in the film. I found that very compelling and just basically interesting. I found it very interesting. Now let's talk a bit about the actors in this film. Now, when it comes to watching films with Kirsten Dunst being the lead in the films, whether it be her in Bring It On, Marie Antoinette, Virgin Suicides, or Melancholia, it is definitely easy for me to watch her being the lead and seeing what she goes through with each film that she is in. It's not a difficult thing for me to do because she does have awesome acting abilities when it comes to presenting the emotional side of things in a very specific way that she does it, or even just when it comes down to her being subtle about it, but she is basically telling you all you need to know in in those subtle moments. And in this film, I must I am happy to report that I was not disappointed in her performance in this film either, because she still basically takes that while putting it into this character who is gone through a lot being a war photographer, and how it takes a toll on her, where she comes across as this person that is devoid of human empathy or compassion, but is at the same time growing very tired and weary and just filled with emotional distress over what is going on and what she has done throughout her life and the job that she is in. So I actually was thoroughly impressed with her acting. And then there is Wagner Moura. You may know him from, if you don't know his voice, he played Death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And if you've seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Shining Girls, then you know who I'm talking about. And in this film, he plays a war journalist who basically he is so on, how can I say, he gets off on the high of being in these dangerous and thrilling situations to find the next story or to get his next quote and what he does. So he finds being in these dangerous situations all too exciting, unlike Kirsten Dunst's character who is just basically doing it to get what she needs to get done with it and move on to the next thing. And I actually found that kind of poetic, because of the fact that he played Death and Puss in Boots. And so in a way I feel like he sort of brought a little bit of that as this character. Not fully. I'm not saying that this guy is obsessed with death. I'm not saying that at all, but he brings this sort of thrill to just the being in these dangerous moments and just getting off on it in a way. But I thought he was really good in this film. And also there is Kaylee Spaney, who you may have recently seen her as Priscilla Presley in Priscilla. So she did a really good job in that film, I thought. And she was also in films like On the Basis of Sex and the Craft Legacy, if you've seen any of those. And in this film, she is playing a newbie, an up and coming war photographer. And so she is just starting out on her journey as a war photographer, and she admires Kirsten Dunst's character, because sort of sees her as her hero, basically. But I thought she did a pretty good job as the character that she is in this film. And judging by what you think of the ending, which I'm not spoiling, you may find the points of her character, that the character arc that she goes through, you may find it maybe a little bit sad, or you may feel, let me change that, you may feel a little sad or upset by how her character arc may end up, depending on how you view what happens in the end with her character. And then we have Stephen McKinley Henderson, who I'm sure you have seen around in many different things, but the ones that I can give out that I know him from are Dune and Dune Part 2. And also he's been in Fences, he's been in Beau is Afraid, he's been around Lady Bird, I think. Yeah, he was in Lady Bird too. So he is pretty much a well-known actor that you would see in these kind of like character type of actors that he plays. He plays a certain type of character, and in this film it's no different. He's playing the mentor character. He's playing the old dog who has been through it, seen it all, and done it all. So he knows what is expected and what is done in war journalism and war photography. And so Kirsten Dunst's character pretty much looks to him as her mentor in these situations. And he is really good. They try to write him off as like he's, what can you do, old man, kind of thing. But he does some things in this film that you'll see that, yeah, don't be fooled by my old exterior or just me being an old man. I got stuff in my back pocket that I can use at any time. Just watch. So let's talk about the themes in the film, which, in all honesty, they're pretty much what you could already expect them to be in a film like this. The themes that are hit on are pretty much kind of like themes of like ethical questioning of your morals and exposing the truth and how you choose to do that. Governmental powers and abusing them when you find it convenient or just when you just choose to. Political and societal division all around. Personal cost of war. And the media's responsibility and challenges when war reporting, which is definitely a big theme in this film, if it isn't obvious enough. In my opinion, I actually believe that these themes were used fairly well through the different perspectives of the different people that the protagonists come across as they do this road trip journey to DC. And so I felt like they used those themes well, and they didn't just like drop them at certain points just to drop them. It felt like it was fairly harmonious how they chose to do it. It didn't feel like they were just forced in there kind of thing. The cinematography in the movie I thought was really awesome. I felt like they pulled it off well. Every time the team goes into a battle zone or a area that is in the middle of strikes and protest, the way the camera shoots the scenes, it almost made you feel like as if you were there with them, like you were in the midst of the same things they were in the midst of. You felt like you were in the enemy's crosshairs, or you felt like you were in an area where you could be in physical danger. That's how it felt by how the cameras were angling to film those scenes, in my opinion. It almost felt like almost an immersive experience to me. Not fully, but in a way, it sort of gave off that in watching the film. And I always enjoy when a film can pull that off. So I felt like they sort of pretty much pulled it off in this without having to go to like, not just trying to be just basic about it, if you know what I mean. Just basic, not basic, shooting style, but doing it in a way to make the audience feel like they are involved in what's going on. And the sound design, pretty much like the cinematography, was incredible and actually, in all honesty, rather loud because I saw it in IMAX. So I'm sure you've been hearing other people say how loud it is, and they're not lying. They're not joking. It was loud at certain points. The sound of explosions and guns firing and aircrafts moving or doing certain things sort of reminded me of the sound design from like Apocalypse Now. If you ever seen that film, they do a really good job with how their sound design is in that film. And that's what this film sort of took me back to when I was really focusing on it and listening to how the sounds really sounded. And it was incredible. I thought it was amazing. And the music that is used in the film, not really too much to write home about to me, but I won't say that they weren't used effectively in the scenes that they were playing music in. It almost felt like the music was sort of like, how can I say, at points enhancing what was going on in certain scenes, but without being like all in your face type of blasting hip hop music, or if not hip hop music, just music that gets your heart pumping even more kind of thing. Nothing like that. It just felt like it just added to the moments of certain scenes and wasn't meant to be showy, wasn't meant to be flashy, just for moments of like when things were getting too intense, that it's like if you did not wish for all the different sounds to be heard, it was best to just let the actions play out while the music was playing over it, kind of thing. So I was like, it was okay. I enjoyed it. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't grandiose, but I could see that being a good way of just showing what is going on, focusing on what is going on in the scene rather than thinking too much about the music playing in the background of what's going on in a scene. All right, let's get to my rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this movie I give it an 8.7. I was really entertained by this film. I found a lot in it that I could just dissect and decipher about it, and I found it enjoyable as far as entertainment of a war film goes. And so, or okay, let me take that back a little bit. A film about certain people in the midst of a war. I enjoyed it. And so, and also it just felt like a roller coaster ride of a road trip on the way to the main event that will go down in the film. So I highly recommend you go see it if you don't mind watching a film that is titled Civil War, or if you don't mind just watching a film about seeing how different perspectives can either collide or just basically what makes them differ from one another. And also, if you have a love of photography, I definitely highly recommend you see this film and learn, because you get to learn more about why many people find war journalism or war photography important and in presenting what goes on in the world. So I recommend it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video and wish to pass it around to friends, family, or anybody else, by all means, please share it. And if you have any thoughts and views on this film, please, by all means, leave it in the comments section down below. So next time, I'm hoping to come back with a reaction to the film Challengers, while I am also gonna work on the review for this film. So look forward to both of those coming out. Hopefully I can get them out sooner rather than later. But until then, I hope you lovelies have a wonderful and blessed day today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.